Oh my God, you guys. I cannot wait to share this project with you. This is something I thought of a few nights ago and I made a quick purchase on Amazon and all of a sudden here we are and I have a really awesome project for you that isn't exactly bag making, but it can definitely go along with the bags that you make. It can be used at craft shows to give out to your customers. And it's just a really great promo item that is beautiful and really classy, and it worked out beautifully. So I'm excited to show these to you. We are going to make custom aluminum, so real metal business cards or cards that you could put in bags for that matter. I'm calling them business cards, but this has all my social media on there. And I'm so excited about this. It engraved absolutely perfect on my Cricut Maker. Now, there is one thing you need to know. You do need to have a Cricut Maker and an engraving tip. If you have a scan and cut or a silhouette, there may be engraving options on those machines as well. I'm sorry, I don't have those machines and I'm unsure of how you would use them in that way. It is possible. I'm going to show you how I got everything set up in Design Space, how I set up my mats, how I got everything aligned, and how the Cricut did with engraving these cards. I'll show you another one that I have that I tried out last night. I haven't quite perfected that yet, but I put a barcode to my website on this card, but the barcode didn't quite work. So I'm trying to figure that out, and if I can figure that out for you all, I will definitely, I'll come back and do another video and let you know. QR code would be amazing so that folks could just scan and get all your socials or go right to your website. Anyways, I really hope you'll stick with me for this project. I want to thank you all for being here and for supporting my channel. We hit over 500 viewers this week. Yay! I'm so excited. Anyways, if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button down below. I always appreciate if you like my videos, if you got something of value, and comments are always welcome. I love to chat with you in the comments, and if you have any ideas for me, please let me know. Anyways, let's get to it. Let's go make some awesome metallic business cards.
Okay, so I hope you're as excited about this project as I was. Um, we're going to get our cards set up in Design Space, and I'm going to show you how I did that. Now, I've done a few prep steps in advance just so that this video doesn't take up too much of your time, but I'm going to explain what I'm doing here. Now, there are some prep things that you need to do before you get started. So what you'll need to do is go and collect all of your social media handles and tags. So I have my Instagram at made up here. I have youtube.com/at made up here. I have my Facebook made up here for Facebook group. And I also have my website at made up here on Shopify. What I've also done is downloaded just black and white SVG copies of all of these social media icons, and I uploaded them to my images. And what we're going to do is we're going to set all these images to size and place them on a card. And then we'll be able to get this all set up to engrave. So maybe what I'll do first is my square shape. So I'm going to just delete this and do it over again for you so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Now, the first thing we need to do is set up our card shape. Now, we aren't actually going to engrave this shape or cut it, but by adding the shape, it will allow us to place all of our text and our icons onto the canvas in the way that we like and make sure that it's going to be the correct size for the engraving and that it will match the card size that we plan to put all of this on. So the cards I purchased, which I will put a link to in the description of the video, I purchased them on Amazon. They were quite inexpensive. They are approximately 2.1 inches wide by 3.25 inches. So I'm setting the size of my card, and you know what? I just set the size of my Shopify icon by accident. I need to select the card, and it needs to be 2.1 by 3.25. There we go. Now, right now the operation is set to basic cut. What we want to do is set this to pen. Now, we're not actually going to use a pen or draw this out in any way. However, by setting this to pen, what we can do is we can attach all of this when we're finished. We can place the card down on our mat and be able to line it up exactly with our image here. So what the Cricut will do is it thinks that there is a pen in your Cricut Maker, and it's going to go through the motions of drawing this line, even though we're not actually going to put a pen in there. That will just allow us to align everything really nicely and make sure everything is set up the way we want. Now, what we need to do is make sure that every other element that we're going to put on the card is set to engrave. So I have my logo, and we'll grab that first. And I like to put my logo at the top center of my card. And the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Instagram logo. So now this is still set to basic cut. What I need to do is change that to engrave. And then I'm going to pick that up and I am going to place that on my card. And my Instagram handle made up here also needs to be in engrave, which it looks like it is already set up to be engraved. And I'm going to place that on the card. Next is YouTube. I am going to change that to engrave. And we're going to drag that under the Instagram icon. And then I'm going to grab my YouTube handle already set to engrave, and we are going to center that on the card as well. Next is Facebook. Set that to engrave. Drag it over and line it up as the way you like. And my Facebook page name made up here needs to be set to engrave. And we are going to pull that over as well. And the last one, Shopify, is already set to engrave. And I am going to place that and then put my web address set to engrave right beside that Shopify icon. Okay, so we have the basics down. Our entire card is set up the way we want, ready to go. Now, the only thing we need to do now is highlight everything. And we are going to attach all of this. So now what will happen is we can move this around and our card is set up. If you wanted to make multiples of these at once, you could duplicate this design by just selecting it, and you can do Control D to duplicate, or you can hit the duplicate button, which is at the top here, right above your layers panel. So if you click that, then you would have a second card ready to go. Now, engraving, of course, is definitely not as fast as printing something out on your printer. It's going to take time for the maker to engrave all of this on the aluminum card, but you are not going to get a nicer, high quality business card to hand out. These are amazing, and they probably cost less than if you were to pay somebody to print out business cards for you. The best part about this is you can do everything here right in Design Space, and you can design it exactly the way you want. So I'm going to just print the one card. Now all I need to do is click Make, and we're going to get this set up on our mat. We're going to get
first thing we need to do is we need to take our card and we need to get it placed on our mat correctly. So the way I do this is I decide where I want to put the card on my mat and line them up. And then when I set up design space, I will make sure that I drag my business card into the correct location on the mat right from design space. So what I do, I do use a strong grip mat that if you don't have one available, you could use a newer standard grip mat, but I find the strong grip mat is the best for this. We don't want this sliding around. I am also going to tape this card down just so that it doesn't move while we do our engraving. So I like to place mine not directly in the corner of our mat, but I am going to place this card in the top corner. And I'm actually going to adjust the camera a little bit so we can see that a little better. Bear with me just a moment. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to place it 1 inch down and 2 inches in for my first card. And I'm just going to line it up with the line, push it down on the mat, and then I am going to place some tape along the edges just to make sure that it stays put. Now the only thing here is you want to make sure that the tape that you're putting down is not going to interfere with your engraving. So I just rip my tape up into little pieces to make it fit. And without moving the card on the strong grip mat, I'm just going to tape down the edges. It shouldn't move too much with engraving, but just in case, because as you've all seen, I've had some disasters with things moving on my Cricut mat. Just going to tape it down just like that. So I have my card 2 inches in, 1 inch down, lined up with the grid on my mat. And my next step is going to be to get design space loaded up, and we're going to get this in the Cricut machine. Okay, so the next step that we need to do is we need to get our mat loaded, and we are going to make sure in design space that when we're setting up our mat that we have the card placed correctly. So I have my little card all set up in design space here, and I'm going to click Make It. And now what I need to do is adjust the size of my mat. I have it defaulted to a 12 by 24 mat because I use this for cutting fabric often, and I like to use that mat. So I'm going to change it to a 12 by 12. And then I'll blow this up a little bit. All I need to do is place the card exactly on my digital design space mat where I put it on my physical mat. So I'm just going to slide it over 1 inch in and 2 inches down, exactly as I have it placed on my actual cutting mat. I'm going to click Next and select my machine. Takes a minute. There we go. All right, so it's found my machine. I'm going to click Next, and then it's going to ask us to choose a material. Now, the material that I have been using for these cards, which has been extremely successful, is the foil craftboard holographic. So I'm going to select that again. Now, I do not make any adjustments to the pressure. I leave it at the default pressure, and I do not insert the pen as the Cricut is instructing me to do this. Okay, so I'm going to hit the start button, and so what the Cricut should do is it's going to draw an imaginary line around the card with the pen function, and I did not put the pen in, and then it's going to engrave. There goes our imaginary line. And now we're engraving. Okay, so we are done. I am going to pull the mat out and show you what it looks like so far. The very first thing I do when this comes off the machine is I go over it with one of these sticky lint rollers just to pick up any of the aluminum shavings or dust, because I don't want any of that getting stuck on my mat or in the machine. All right, so I'm going to take this off the mat and we'll get a better look. Okay, so I'm going to get you in a little closer here before I take this off the mat. Now, the thing with these, they are not the thickest metal, that's for sure. So I like to just kind of gently pull them up off the mat. All right, so I'll get the mat out of our way. And I think this is amazing. It did a really, really great job. I think I could have arranged my text on the bottom here a little better. I might need to make an adjustment there, but you can see I have a beautiful engraved aluminum business card that I can give to my favorite customers. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Please like, please subscribe, leave me a comment. If there are more video ideas you'd like me to explore, then let me know. I'd be happy to do one of those for you. Have so much fun. I hope you enjoy your Cricut.